Director of Listings Development with the Canadian Securities Exchange. You're joining us as part of our podcast series, The Exchange for Entrepreneurs. And today I am joined by my wonderful colleague, Matt Lee. He is Director of Trading Business Development.
There you go.
Thank you for joining me, Matt.
Thanks very much for having me, Anna.
Okay, so I'm very sorry. First of all, you've come out from Toronto to Vancouver to visit us, and it's been pouring rain ever since you showed up. So I'm sorry about that.
As much as I despise the weather right now, you're always such a great hospitable host every time I come out here. So thanks very much for that. People of Vancouver have been wonderful every single time I'm here.
Wonderful. Okay, let's talk about the trading and data side of the CSE. What part of the function of the stock exchange does this host?
So I'm responsible for the trading business development side of the Canadian Securities Exchange. And what that means is once a company goes public, they now are trading on the secondary market. So what my group is responsible for is effectively ensuring the efficiency, the fairness, and the quality of the secondary market, which is incredibly important to our issuers.
And the trading.
Yeah, exactly.
And the data.
Yes.
All of these important things that we depend on, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's talk about the importance of a healthy secondary market. Why is this important? How do we achieve this? How do we help our issuers achieve this?
Well, for a few reasons. I mean, the secondary market is incredibly important because once the company has gone public and they want to ensure that they are instilling the utmost degree of confidence in their investors and the community at large, a healthy market's important. We need depth of liquidity. We need efficient price discovery. All of these things are going to help contribute to an issuer's ability to raise capital. In many cases, a healthy liquid market will certainly help to reduce the cost of capital for issuers and make their experience in the market that much better.
And I know that this is something when we have issuers come to trade in the market, that's a big consideration in distribution, is ensuring that our issuers have enough free trading stock that's out there to help create this liquid market. Now, the CSE has its own market making program. Can you maybe describe to us what that is?
The cornerstone of a healthy market is liquidity. Issuers want to know that if they have investors that want to be able to get in or get out, they're able to do so. And they're able to do so at fair prices. One of the ways that we in the trading group at CSE help to ensure that there is a liquid a market available is through our market making program. Many people might not know that the CSE does have a formalized market making program, and every stock, as soon as from the day you go public, has an assigned market maker looking and assigned to your symbol. The market maker's primary responsibility are really to ensure that there is additional liquidity where needed, that there's a tight spread so that you can reduce the cost of execution, and then mostly we want to make sure that if there are any irregularities or if there are any concerns with the trading of your particular symbol, there's somebody there. There's the market maker there that can report that to the CSE, can report that to the regulators, and ensure that that stock is trading appropriately.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Okay, Matt, we have some upcoming changes that are happening to our trading system, and that is the ability to offer a market on close facility. So explain to us what that is.
So one of the most important benchmarks for any investor is the closing price of a security. What we wanted to do was to introduce a mechanism and a facility that would allow for a transparent price discovery system that will set the price at the close and also be a source of liquidity for any investor that wants to be able to trade and guarantee themselves the closing price. This is important because anybody that's going to be tracking a portfolio that includes securities that are benchmarked at the close need to be able to ensure that they have access to that liquidity. It's a fair price, and it's guaranteed to be at the official closing price of the CSE.
That's exciting. And when is this going to be in effect? So
this will be in effect in June of 2025. We're really excited about this because the opportunities that it presents to issuers is quite numerous. Firstly, we do think that it's going to create a much wider breadth of investor interest in CSE securities. For example, there are a number of institutions or indexes or funds out there that may be only interested in a security if they can guarantee themselves the closing benchmark price. By having this market on close facility, they will be able to do that, and they can do that with confidence.
Amazing. Really interesting. Okay, I have one question I wanted to ask you because most of the people that you're put in front of are the traders at the various broker-dealers. Is there any view on how they're feeling about the market these days? Any interesting things that you've gained in being out in Vancouver and chatting with the traders?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a challenging environment over the last couple of years. I think
Yep.
we can all agree on that. It's been a very difficult macroeconomic climate to be able to raise money, and more than anything too, we just haven't seen volumes return from some of the highs that we experienced in the years throughout the early days of the pandemic. When when particularly retail interest was at a high. It's been challenging, but I think everybody that I've been talking to seems to share a sentiment that, particularly with all the volatility that we're seeing in the market, the geopolitical climate, we do start to see volatility and volumes starting to return, which is promising.
That's what we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, as we start to see volumes return, we'll start to see a more liquid market, and liquid markets are good for everybody, especially in the case of instilling that investor confidence. Creating better price discovery. A deeper, more liquid market is really going to help everybody, particularly our issuers.
Amazing. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for joining us in Vancouver. And thank you for teaching us about the trading side.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.